I am going to give you a brief tutorial on the export process for your SPSS analyses. This is what you're going to need to use for uploading the SPSS output on any of the activities that require the use of SPSS. And that's currently Chapter 1, and then we won't be using it again for a while, but it'll be very clear in the activities when you need to use SPSS, because it'll specifically say use SPSS, do this, do that, etc., step by step. All right, so you're not expected to use it unless it specifically tells you to. But what I have open here in SPSS is that GSS 2010 data set, and you see the columns of information. So this is all in data view. If I went to variable view down here at the bottom of the screen and clicked on that, you can see this is where all of the variables were initially created and labeled and identified as a scale variable, a nominal variable, etc. One quick thing, just because I got a couple emails on it. When you're creating the names of variables, you're not allowed to have spaces in your variable name. So notice scientific knowledge doesn't have a space there. Years of education doesn't have a space there. There used to be an 8-character limit as well, but you can see that clearly that doesn't apply anymore. But just make sure you don't have any spaces in there. And I think one other, you're not allowed to start a variable name with a number. Like 1 year, yeah, variable contains an illegal character. So you've got to have letters and no spaces. All right, this is a created data set. Let's just do the analyses that Chapter 1 requires. So that was going to the Analyze menu. Almost all of the analyses are under the Analysis menu, the Analyze menu. Descriptive, frequencies, all right? And then here is a standard dialog box for SPSS. You're going to see a list of your variables on the left, and you'll be able to move them to various locations, various boxes on the right as you set up your analyses. And for frequencies, there's just one box, whatever variables you want to analyze. So the first instruction is to analyze scientific knowledge, which I could just drag over, or I can highlight and click the little arrow button, and it moves. The instructions say to make sure that frequency tables is checked, and it is. In our case, that was the default. And then to set up charts, or a bar chart, I click on chart, and you can see the different options available to us, and I think the instructions said just choose bar chart, so that's what we're going to do. Click continue. Now that it's all set up, I click OK, and within a few seconds, the magic of computers, we see our frequency table, and we see the bar chart, which is basically a histogram. And that's the analysis. Now, if I want to continue and do the rest of it, I think a few questions down, the activity instructed me to do some more analyses. So I'm going to go back up to frequencies, and I'm going to move this. Notice when I click on scientific knowledge, it changes the arrow, so I can move it back to this list. I don't need to reanalyze it, but I think it asked me to do highest years of education. Now, SPSS will leave all of the settings the same for every analysis. So notice when I click charts, bar chart is still selected. So unless I change anything or need to change anything, you don't usually have to recreate your analysis. I'm just swapping out the variable. So I click OK, and here is the scientific knowledge table, the scientific knowledge bar chart, and notice then that the new years of education table is just appended to the bottom beneath that. It's all in the same file. All right, so there's the frequency table and there's the new bar chart. Then I think it wanted me to do, let's clear this one. What was the rest of it? I think it was TV hours. I'm watching TV. I'm going to move that over. Bar charts is still there. Click OK. And there it adds the hours per day watching TV tables. Okay. I think there's actually one more analysis in the activity, but for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. So I've got all 3 analyses on one file. Now here's the tricky part. Normally, when you create a document, you go up to the File menu and you click Save, and I'll get a dialog box. I can click GSS output or something like that. I'm going to save it to my desktop. Where's my desktop? There. And I click save. And now down here, you can see on my desktop is the GSS output file that I just created. Now this file is in SPSS format. SPSS is the only application that can read it. And I don't want you to upload that file, that output file, to Canvas because Canvas doesn't know how to interpret it, and it just adds an extra layer of complexity when we're grading to download it, open it up in SPSS, etc. Instead, now of course you should save your work so you can always go back to it and continue your assignment if you're still if you haven't finished yet. But when you are ready, when you are done, when you go up to the file menu here, I don't want you to click save or save as. I want you to select export. All right, export ... When I click that, it gives me several options here in this menu where it says document type. The default is Word .docx, and that's perfectly fine. That's preferable. You can choose, for example, PDF file if you want, but a Word document is just fine. All objects that are visible in the output file is what is going to be exported. Not all visible, excuse me, all. So anything that's in there is going to be exported, and that's fine too. That's the default. Down here in this box, it tells you where it's going to save the file, and it's going to save it to my desktop, which is fine, makes it easier for me to find, but you can obviously put it anywhere you want. GSS output, and I'll add my name to it. All right, so I've created my name. If I wanted to change where it was being sent to, I would just use the browse button, and I can select anywhere on my computer. And that's all I have to do. Just make sure that all objects are being exported, that it's going to be exported in a Word document, which is a fine default. PDF is another option as well, and that you've given it a name and know where it's going. Now when I click OK, it takes a second and exports the file, and now on my desktop you can see I've got GSS output Fred in .doc form. Now if I double click that, it will open up in Microsoft Word in a second. There we go. And you can see a copy of the entire set of analyses is now in my Word document. Now, unfortunately, the export doesn't do a very clean export. You'll notice like that frequency table goes across pages and things like that. That's fine for our purposes. If you were printing, obviously, it would be a little bit more, you probably want to clean it up a bit. But since you're just uploading this to Canvas, this will be just fine. So there is the file, that GSS output file that you are to upload. Now, I'm going to go over to Canvas. Where's my Canvas window? Did I not save it? All right, let's go into UCSD. There we go. And here's our course. And I'm going to put my browser into student mode. So I now see exactly what you see instead of what professors see. So if I were to upload this, I'm going to go into the Chapter 1 page. And here's all of the information in Chapter 1. And if I scroll all the way down, I see Activity 1 submission link. Okay, if this was Chapter 2, it'd be the Chapter 2 submission link, and so on and so forth. So I click that, and now I start the assignment. Notice it's going to limit what types of files I can submit. But I'm going to start and just click Browse. Go to my desktop. Where's the shortcut to my desktop? There's my desktop. And looking for my GSS output file .docx. That's the one that I want you to upload. Click Open. And now I can add another file, and I don't have one on my desktop, but if I wanted to add my activity worksheet that was all neat and complete and collected, I'll just pretend that this GSS SPV output file is the one. And then I click that. So I can add, oh man, it's not allowed. Wow, all right, see, I can't do that. So I have to find a document file somewhere, but I can add as many documents as I like as long as they are in this proper format. Okay. And that's it. Now I can submit assignment. Yay! All right, and now it's on and available for myself or the TAs to grade. So that's all there is to completing an analysis in SPSS, exporting it, and then uploading it into your submission. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, happy statting.